The rain in New York does not wash you clean. It just cements the grime to your skin. I stood on the corner of Fifth Avenue, shivering in a way that had nothing to do with the temperature. My vintage Saint Laurent blazer, once a symbol of my impeccable taste, was now a heavy sodden weight dragging me down. I looked at my feet. My shoes were ruined. $600 of Italian leather were sinking into a puddle of oil and gray sludge, and I could not summon the energy to step out of it. The city moved around me, a blur of yellow taxis and black umbrellas, but I was static. I was a ghost haunting the scene of my own murder. A black Maybach pulled up to the curb, gliding through the traffic like a predator in dark water. It was silent, massive, and terrifyingly expensive. I knew that car. I knew the person inside. The tinted rear window rolled down with a soft electric hum, revealing the warm, leather-scented sanctuary within. Lexi sat there. She was wrapped in a white cashmere coat that cost more than my first car, looking dry, warm, and sickeningly perfect. She did not say a word. She did not have to. She just raised her phone, the camera lens staring at me like a mechanical eye. I froze, trapped in the headlights of her Triumph. I saw my own reflection in the dark glass of the car window, a drowned rat with mascara running down her cheeks, a broken woman stripped of her crown. The flash blinded me for a second, etching my humiliation into digital memory forever. Lexi lowered the phone and smiled. It was not a smile of joy. It was the cold, satisfied smirk of a thief who knows she has gotten away with it. The window rolled up, sealing her back into her world of power and privilege. The car merged into traffic, leaving me alone on the corner with nothing but the cold rain and the burning hole in my chest where my life used to be. But to understand why I was standing there, we need to go back 3 hours. Before we continue and find out how it all began, please subscribe and leave a like. We'd truly love to read your comments below. The elevator ride to the 45th floor of the Velvet Management Building was usually the best part of my day. It was a smooth, silent ascent to Olympus. I checked my reflection in the mirrored walls, adjusting a stray hair. Kaya Vance, 26 years old, the face of the decade. I looked invincible. My skin was flawless, my eyes were clear, and I radiated the kind of confidence that only money and adoration can buy. I was walking into a meeting to sign a $5 million renewal contract. I had no idea I was walking into an execution. The doors slid open with a soft chime, revealing the reception area. It was white, sterile, and smelled faintly of lilies and fear. Sarah, the receptionist who usually begged to get my coffee, did not look up. She was typing furiously, her shoulders hunched as if anticipating a blow. The atmosphere was wrong. The air felt thin, charged with a static electricity that made the hair on my arms stand up. I walked past her desk, my heels clicking a sharp, aggressive rhythm against the marble floor. Click, click, click. I did not knock on the double glass doors of the COS office. I never knocked. I was the reason the lights stayed on in this place. Marcus Thorne sat behind his desk, a massive slab of black obsidian that dominated the room. He did not stand up. He did not smile. He was reading a file, his face a mask of bored indifference. Marcus was 50, handsome in a reptilian way, wearing a suit that was tailored to within an inch of its life. He closed the folder slowly as I approached, his eyes flat and unreadable. Kaya, he said. It was not a greeting. It was an acknowledgement of a nuisance. I sat down in the leather chair opposite him, crossing my legs and projecting a calm I did not feel. The Paris contract came in, I said. I want to discuss the royalty terms before I sign. He stared at me for a long moment, the silence stretching until it was uncomfortable. There is no Paris contract, he said finally. The words hung in the air, heavy and absurd. I frowned, a small crack appearing in my composure. Excuse me, I asked, assuming I had misheard. There is no Paris contract, he repeated, sliding a single piece of paper across the obsidian surface. And there is no velvet contract. Not anymore. I looked at the paper. Notice of termination. The words swam before my eyes, refusing to make sense. Is this a joke? I laughed, but it was a brittle, sharp sound. I made you $3 million last quarter. You say not fire me. It is done, Marcus said. checking his watch as if he had a lunch reservation he could not miss. Effective immediately. We re-exercising the morality clause. I stood up, my hands slamming onto the desk. Morality clause? I demanded, my voice rising. I do not drink. I do not party. I'm in bed by 10 every night. What morality? Marcus did not blink. The drugs, Kaya, he said smoothly. The rumors are everywhere. Unreliable behavior. Substance abuse. We CA not have that liability attached to the agency. There are no drugs. I screamed, the mask of perfection shattering completely. You know that. You know I'm clean. Perception is reality, he said, pressing a button on his intercom. Send her in. The side door opened and a girl walked in. She was blonde, thin, and terrifyingly young. She looked like me but softer. Less defined. It was Lexi, Marcus's daughter. Meet the new face of the summer campaign, Marcus said, looking at her with a sickening pride. Fresh. Young. Clean. The room spun. It was not about drugs. It was never about drugs. It was nepotism wrapped in a lie. He was killing my career to build hers. I looked at Lexi. She smirked, a small cruel twitch of her lips. She held a portfolio. My portfolio. But my name had been peeled off. You replacing me with her? I whispered, the shock turning into nausea. She say not walk. She has dead eyes. Marcus shrugged. She has my last name, he said. And she's 18. You 26, Kaya. In this town you practically a fossil. Take your severance. If you make a scene, I'll make sure you never book a catalog job in Idaho, let alone New York. 2 security guards appeared at the door. They were big, silent, and looked like they enjoyed their job too much. Get out, Marcus said, turning his chair away. He was already done with me. I did not cry. Not then. I let the guards escort me out like a criminal. We passed the bullpen of agents, people I had worked with for years, people I had bought drinks for. Phones rang. Heads turned away. No one looked at me. I was already erased. They marched me to the elevator and rode down with me in a heavy silence that tasted like ash. They pushed me through the revolving doors and onto the sidewalk. The city noise hit me like a physical blow. Sirens. Horns. Yelling. And then the rain started. And just like that, I was back in the gutter. The taillights of Lexi's car disappeared into the gray mist, taking my dignity with them. I was alone. I reached into my pocket for my phone, my fingers numb and clumsy. I needed to call an Uber. I needed to call a lawyer. I needed to get out of this rain before I froze to death. I unlocked the screen and opened my banking app. A notification flashed red. Alert. Account frozen. Suspicious activity. I stared at the screen, blinking against the rain. Another buzz. An email from my landlord. Lease termination. Failure to comply with building standards. Marcus worked fast. He was thorough. He was not just firing me. He was dismantling my existence brick by brick. He wanted me destitute. He wanted me broken. He wanted to make sure I could not fight back. I shivered, the cold finally penetrating the shock. My bank account was zero. My apartment was gone. I had the clothes on my back and a phone that was rapidly running out of battery. I scrolled through my contacts. Jessica, my best friend. We had shared a studio in Brooklyn when we were nobodies. I pressed call. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Voicemail. I texted her. Jess, it's an emergency. Marcus fired me. I need a place to crash. The bubbles appeared, then vanished. Then a message. I say not, Kaya. He sent a memo. Anyone helping you gets blacklisted. I have a mortgage. I'm sorry. I stared at the words. I have a mortgage. That was the price of loyalty in this city. A 2-bedroom apartment in Chelsea. I tried David, my favorite photographer. Blocked. I tried my agent at the commercial division. Blocked. The screen blurred. It was not the rain anymore. It was tears of pure, unadulterated rage. I was not a person to them. I was a commodity. And now that my stock had crashed, I was toxic waste. I walked to the subway entrance at 59th Street. I did not have a Metro card. I jumped the turnstile, the alarm beeping a pathetic protest that no one cared about. I walked down the stairs into the stifling urine-scented air of the subway. I sat on a sticky orange plastic bench. A man across from me stared. He saw a wet, shivering girl in ruined expensive clothes. He saw a victim. I closed my eyes and forced myself to breathe. In. Out. I saw Marcus's face. I saw Lexia's smirk. You think I'm old? I thought. You think I'm done? The train rattled into the dark tunnel, the lights flickering. I was not a model anymore. I was a target. But targets can shoot back. I checked my battery. 14%. I had one option left. Run. He was the only person I knew who did not care about Marcus Thorne or the fashion industry. He hated me for selling out, but he hated the system more. I dialed the number from memory. It rang 4 times. Yeah? His voice was rough, like he'd been sleeping or smoking. Run, I said. Silence. Kaya? He asked, disbelief coloring his tone. Why are you calling me? Did you run out of champagne? I ran out of everything, I said. I'm at Columbus Circle. I have nowhere to go. He did not speak for a long time. I could hear the bass of a song in the background. Give me an hour, he said finally. If you're not there, I'm leaving. I'll be there, I whispered. He hung up. I lowered the phone. I was waiting for a guy I had called a loser to save me from the billionaires. The irony was perfect. I looked at the subway tracks, the darkness stretching out endlessly. I opened my camera roll and found the selfie I had taken this morning. Perfect lighting. Perfect smile. A lie. I deleted it. Then I raised the phone and took a new picture. Wet hair. Mascara stains. Eyes burning with a cold, hard light. I did not post it. I saved it. This was the starting line. 58 minutes. That is how long I sat on the orange plastic bench. I counted the minutes like a prisoner marking days on a wall. The subway station was a theater of the grotesque. A man screamed at a vending machine. A rat dragged a slice of pizza across the tracks. The air was thick with the smell of stale pretzels and hopelessness. I sat with my arms wrapped around my knees, trying to make myself small. I was a foreign object here. My ruined Saint Laurent blazer was a beacon that screamed, victim. I kept my head down, watching the second hand on my phone screen tick away the last of my battery. Then I saw boots. Heavy black combat boots, scuffed and covered in paint splatters. They stopped in front of me. I looked up. The jeans were ripped not by a designer but by wear. The leather jacket was vintage, smelling of tobacco and developer fluid. Rin. He had not changed. He looked exactly the same as the day I walked out of his life 3 years ago. Messy dark hair, sharp jaw, eyes that saw too much. He held a helmet in one hand. He did not look happy to see me. He looked like he was inspecting a car crash. You look expensive, he said. His voice was flat. No pity. Just observation. Even when you recovered in trash. I stood up. My legs were stiff. Hello to you too, Rin. I thought you were in Paris, he said. He looked me up and down, taking in the smeared mascara, the shivering, the wet clothes. Vogue reported you were shooting the cover on Friday. Plans changed, I said. My voice was brittle. I need a ride. He laughed. It was not a nice sound. A ride. Right. Because the town car did not show up? He shook his head, but he turned around. Follow me. If you throw up on my bike, I'm leaving you on the Brooklyn Bridge. We walked up the stairs. The rain had turned into a drizzle, but the wind cut through my wet clothes like a knife. Ren led me to a motorcycle parked illegally on the sidewalk. It was old, black, and looked like it was held together by duct tape and prayers. He handed me the helmet. It was heavy. It smelled of him. Cedar and old smoke. I put it on. It was a suffocating cage, but it hid my face. It hid the shame. I climbed on behind him. I had to wrap my arms around his waist. His leather jacket was cold against my cheek. The engine roared to life, a deafening growl that drowned out the city. We shot into traffic. Ren drove like a maniac. We weaved between yellow taxis and delivery trucks. The city blurred into streaks of light. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I was not the disgraced model. I was just weightless. I was nothing. And nothing felt better than the pain. We crossed the bridge into Brooklyn. The skyline of Manhattan receded behind us. The shining towers. The penthouses. The lies. We were heading into the dark. Bushwick. The warehouses. The graffiti. The real world. Run pulled up to a converted factory building covered in murals. He killed the engine. The silence that followed was ringing in my ears. He got off and waited for me to hand back the helmet. "Third floor," he said. "The elevator is broken. Welcome to the palace." He did not wait for me. He walked to the heavy steel door and unlocked it. I followed him. The stairs were concrete, lit by flickering fluorescent strips. My heels clicked on the steps, a pathetic echo of the power I used to project. My feet were bleeding inside the ruined leather. I did not complain. I bit my lip and climbed. The loft was huge. It was a single open space with exposed brick walls and massive industrial windows. It was freezing. Canvases and prints were scattered everywhere. Cameras, lenses, tripods. It was chaos, but it was organized chaos. It was the mind of an artist exploded onto a room. In the center was a worn velvet sofa and a mattress on the floor. A darkroom was built into the corner with black curtains. It smelled of chemicals and coffee. Ren tossed his keys on a table made from a wooden pallet. He went to a mini fridge and pulled out 2 beers. He cracked one open and took a long drink. He did not offer me one. He leaned against the brick wall and crossed his arms. "Talk," he said, "and make it the short version. I have editing to do." I stood in the middle of the room. I felt ridiculous. "Marcus fired me," I said. "He planted drugs. He froze my accounts. He evicted me. He replaced me with Lexi." Run raised an eyebrow. "Lexi? The daughter? The one who looks like a terrified deer? She is the new face of Velvet," I said. "And I'm the face of a drug scandal. He blacklisted me, Ren. No one will take my call. I have $0. I have nowhere to go." Ren took another sip of beer. He did not look surprised. "I told you," he said. "Do not," I warned. "Do not say it." "I told you 3 years ago," he continued, his voice rising slightly. "I told you that you were selling your soul. You said I was jealous. You said you were building an empire. Well, look at your empire, Kaya. It is a puddle of water on my floor." "I did not come here for a lecture," I snapped. The anger flared up again. It was good. It kept me warm. "I came here because you owe me." "I owe you." He laughed. He pushed off the wall and walked toward me. "I do not owe you anything. You left me, remember? You said my art was too gritty for your new image. You said I was holding you back. I paid your rent for 6 months. I shouted. I bought you that camera. I pointed at the Leica on the shelf. And you made sure to remind me of it every day," he said softly. He stopped in front of me. He looked at my face. Really looked. "You re-bleeding?" I looked down. A drop of blood from my blistered heel had stained the concrete. "I'm fine," I said. Ren sighed. The anger seemed to drain out of him, replaced by a tired resignation. "Bathroom is over there. There's a towel. I'll find you some dry clothes. You should not stay in that costume." I went to the bathroom. It was barely a room, just a partition with a sink and a shower. The mirror was cracked. I stripped off the wet clothes. The Saint Laurent blazer fell to the floor in a heavy heap. The silk blouse was torn. I looked at my body. Too thin. Bruised. Shivering. I turned on the shower. The water was lukewarm, but it felt like heaven. I scrubbed the makeup off my face. I scrubbed the city off my skin. I wanted to scrub the memory of Marcus's voice out of my head. When I came out, Ren had left a pile of clothes on the sofa. A gray oversized hoodie. Sweatpants. Thick socks. I put them on. They swallowed me. I felt small. I felt like a child. Ren was sitting at his computer. The glow of the monitors lit up his face. He was scrolling. "You re-famous," he said without turning around. I walked over. "What is it?" "Femzy. Page 6. The Daily Mail. It is everywhere." I looked at the screen. The headline screamed in bold red letters. "Supermodel meltdown. K Vance fired after drug bust." The photo was the one Marcus had shown me. Grainy. A bathroom stall. A girl who looked like me snorting a line of white powder. It is fake, I said. That is not me. Does not matter, Ren said. He clicked to the next article. New era at Velvet. Lexi Thorne takes the crown. There was a picture of Lexi. She was wearing my dress. She was smiling that innocent, dead-eyed smile. The caption read, Industry insiders praise Thorne's fresh, healthy look as a welcome change from Vance's erratic behavior. She stole my life, I whispered. She is wearing my clothes. She is living in my apartment. She has my contract. She has your handcuffs, Rin corrected. He spun his chair around to face me. You're re-looking at this wrong. How should I look at it? I demanded. I'm ruined. I'm a pariah. You re-free, Rin said. He gestured to the screen. Look at them. They re-perfect. They re-plastic. They re-boring. You were boring too, Kaya. Perfect skin. Perfect lighting. Safe. Safe made me millions, I said. Safe made you replaceable. He shot back. Marcus replaced you because you were just a product. One Barbie breaks, you buy another one. But now? He looked at me. Now you re a mess. You re ugly. You re real. Thanks, I said dryly. I'm serious. Rin stood up. He paced the room. You want revenge? You see I not beat them at their game. You see I not be prettier than the 18-year-old billionaire's daughter. You see I not outmoney Marcus. So what do? Give up? No, Rin stopped. He looked at the camera on the shelf. You changed the game. You stop trying to be the perfect mannequin. You become the thing they re-afraid of. And what are they afraid of? The truth, Rin said. The ugly, unretouched, gritty truth. I looked at the screen again. Lexia's face was smoothed by filters. Her eyes were brightened. Her waist was cinched digitally. It was a lie. A beautiful, profitable lie. I remembered the photo I took in the subway. The one with the mascara stains and the rage. I have a photo, I said. Rin looked at me. What? I took a photo. In the subway. Before I called you. I pulled my phone out of the wet pocket of the blazer. I tapped the screen. I handed it to him. Rin took the phone. He looked at the image. Silence filled the room. He zoomed in. He studied it like it was a rare specimen. This, he said. This is interesting. It is hideous, I said. It is powerful, he said. It is pure hate. I have not seen this look in your eyes since you were 19. Since before the contracts. He handed the phone back. Post it, he said. Are you crazy? I stared at him. My publicist would have a stroke. If I still had one. Exactly, Rin said. You have no publicist. You have no contract. You have nothing to lose. They said you re a drug addict? Show them you re a survivor. Show them the face they created. I looked at the phone. My thumb hovered over the Instagram icon. My account had 5 million followers. Most of them were bots or people who like seeing me drink coconut water on a yacht. If I do this, I said, there is no going back. I burn the bridge. The bridge is already ashes, Kaya, Ren said. You re-standing in the water. I felt that cold knot in my chest again. The steel. Marcus thought he had flushed me away. He thought I would hide in shame. He thought I would disappear. Silence is consent. Hiding is admission. I opened Instagram. I selected the photo. No filters. No edits. No tags. I typed the caption. Just 3 words. Not dead yet. My finger trembled. Do it, Rin said. I pressed post. The bar loaded. Blue line. Done. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Now what? I asked. Now, Rin said, walking to his fridge. We eat pizza. And we wait for the world to catch fire. He ordered a pepperoni pizza from a place down the street. We ate on the floor. The grease stained the cardboard. It was the best meal I had eaten in years. I had not eaten carbs since 2023. We did not talk much. We watched the notifications on my phone. First it was silence. Then a trickle. User 123. OMG, what happened? Hater 88 crackhead. Fashion lover, is this art? Then the flood. Likes. Comments. Shares. The numbers spun like a slot machine. It was not the polite adoration I was used to. It was shock. It was curiosity. It was noise. But then I saw a comment from a blue checkmark. A famous indie designer. One Marcus hated. Alexander V, finally. Something real. I showed it to Ran. He smirked. I told you, he said. People are starving for blood. This is not a strategy, I said. It is a tantrum. It is a start, Ran said. He stood up and went to the darkroom curtain. I have work to do. You can sleep on the mattress. Do not touch my lenses. He disappeared behind the black curtain. I was alone in the big cold room. I lay down on the mattress. It was lumpy. The sheets were rough. I looked at the ceiling. The industrial pipes cast long shadows. I was in a squat in Bushwick. I was wearing a Manus hoodie. I was public enemy number 1. But I smiled. It was a small, sharp smile. Marcus had made a mistake. He thought he took away my power when he took away my title. But he forgot where I came from. He forgot that before I was a goddess I was a fighter. I closed my eyes. The image of Lexi burned in my mind. The perfect plastic usurper. I'm going to destroy you, I thought. Not with rumors. Not with lawyers. But with the one thing you see not buy. Reality. I needed a plan. A real plan. Ren was right. I could not be a model anymore. The industry was a fortress, and Marcus held the keys. So I would build a siege engine. I drifted into sleep. The sound of sirens outside was my lullaby. For the first time in years, I did not dream of missed flights or broken heels. I dreamt of fire. I woke up to the smell of burnt coffee and turpentine. My back ached. The mattress on the floor offered about as much support as a yoga mat on concrete, but for the first time in months I did not wake up with a panic attack. I opened my eyes. The morning light filtered through the dirty industrial windows of the loft, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. It was a stark contrast to the blackout curtains and silk sheets of my Tribeca apartment. That life was gone. It felt like a dream I had finally woken up from. I sat up, pulling the oversized gray hoodie tighter around me. The loft was freezing. Ren was already up. He was standing by the long wooden table, looking at prints. He wore the same clothes as yesterday. I was not sure if he had slept at all. He did not look at me when I stood up. He just pointed a finger at the counter. Coffee. It is sludge, but it is caffeine. I walked over. The mug was chipped. The coffee was black and bitter. Tasted like reality. I took a sip and felt the heat spread through my chest. I looked for my phone. It was plugged into a tangled mess of wires on the floor. The screen was cracked from when I dropped it in the subway. I pressed the power button. It did not just turn on, it exploded. Notifications cascaded down the screen in a ceaseless waterfall. Instagram. Twitter. TikTok. My phone vibrated so hard it made my hand numb. I tapped on the Instagram icon. It took 10 seconds to load. The app was struggling to handle the traffic. Post statistics 1. 2 million likes. 45,000 comments. I stared. 1.2 million. In 8 hours. My usual sponsored posts for Chanel or Dior got maybe 300,000. This was different. This was viral in a way that terrified brand managers. I scrolled through the comments. User 89. Is this real? She looks destroyed. Fashion killer. The shading under the eyes. Is that a trend? Velvet official verified. We are concerned for MS. Vance's mental health and hope she seeks the help she needs. They re-spinning it, I said. My voice was raspy. Velvet commented. They replaying the mental breakdown card. Ren walked over and looked at the screen. Of course they are. They see and not admit you re-angry. Anger is powerful. Insanity is dismissible. If you re-crazy you re-not a threat. You re-a tragedy. They reported the post, I said, pointing to a banner at the top. Sensitive content warning. They re-trying to shadow ban me. Let them, Ren said. He took the phone from my hand and tossed it onto the sofa. You broke the algorithm, Kaya. You showed a crack in the porcelain. You see, not patch that up. So what now? I asked. I have 1 million likes and $0. Likes do not pay rent. And I'm pretty sure I see not book a job looking like a raccoon. You do not book a job, Rin said. He walked to his wall of inspiration. A chaotic collage of torn magazine pages, street photos and sketches. You build a new machine. You said you wanted to destroy them. How? I do not know, I admitted. I wanted to start an agency, but I have no capital. I have no contacts. I have no office. You do not need an office, Rin said. He tapped a photo on the wall. It was a picture of a girl with a shaved head and a tattoo on her neck. You need an army. He turned to me. His eyes were intense. Velvet is a factory. They take girls, strip away their personality, and turn them into mannequins. If you do not fit the mold, you retrash. Like you are now. Thanks, I muttered. I'm serious, he said. Think about how many girls Marcus has rejected. Too short. Too old. Too fat. Too weird. Too ethnic. He throws away diamonds because he only knows how to sell cubic zirconia. The idea sparked in my brain. It was small at first, then it caught fire. The rejects, I whispered. The ones he said were unmarketable. Exactly, Rin said. We do not sell perfection. We sell character. We sell the story. We sell the things they try to Photoshop out. An anti-agency, I said. The words tasted dangerous. No retouching. No morality clauses. No bullshit. We need a face, Ren said. Besides yours. Yours is the manifesto. We need the proof of concept. I thought about it. I knew the industry. I knew who was hungry. I knew where the bodies were buried, or rather where the rejected models went to die. I know where to go, I said. I looked down at my sweatpants. But I see a not go like this. Ren went to a pile of clothes in the corner. He threw me a pair of black combat boots and a leather jacket that looked like it had survived a war. Wear this. Armor up. We were going hunting. We took the L train into Manhattan. I did not hide my face this time. I wore the oversized hoodie and the leather jacket. I looked like every other artist in Bushwick, except for the bone structure that could cut glass. People glanced at me, but they did not approach. I had an aura of do not touch me that was stronger than any security guard. We got off at 14th Street, Union Square, the casting dungeon. There was an open call today for a generic department store catalog. I knew about it because Velvet sent their C-list girls there to build their books. The line wrapped around the block. Hundreds of girls, all wearing skinny jeans and black tank tops, all clutching portfolios, all looking desperate. I stood across the street watching them. It was a meat market. I used to be one of them, standing in the cold, praying for 3 seconds of attention from a casting director who was hungover and hated his life. See anyone? Ren asked. He was adjusting the settings on his Leica. He was shooting from the hip, capturing the anxiety in the air. They all looked the same, I said. That's the problem. They all trying to be the girl in the magazine. They clones. Then I saw her. She was standing near the back of the line. She was not wearing the uniform. She wore a vintage slip dress over a t-shirt and heavy boots. Her hair was a riot of electric blue curls. But it was not the hair that caught my eye. It was her face. She had a port wine-stained birthmark that covered half of her left cheek and neck. It was dark, jagged, and beautiful. She was not trying to hide it with foundation. She was wearing it like war paint. A casting assistant with a clipboard walked down the line. He stopped in front of her. I saw him say something. He pointed to her face. She shook her head. He pointed to the exit. She argued for a second, then turned around. She did not cry. She looked furious. She ripped her number off her chest and threw it in the trash. Her, I said. The girl with the blue hair. The birthmark. Ren asked. Marcus would tell her to laser it off or get out. Exactly, I said. Let us go. We crossed the street. I intercepted her before she reached the subway. Hey, I said. She stopped. She looked at me. Her eyes were sharp, defensive. I do not have cigarettes and I do not have cash. I do not want your money, I said. I pulled down my hood. She froze. Her eyes widened. She recognized me. Everyone recognized me now. I was the train wreck of the week. Kaya Vance, she said. It was not a question. You look Different than your billboard. The billboard was a lie, I said. I saw what happened back there. They cut you because of the mark? She touched her cheek reflexively, then dropped her hand. They said it was distracting. Said they needed clean beauty. I told them to go to hell. Good, I said. I'm starting something. Something where clean is a dirty word. What's your name? Jax, she said. Jax. I repeated. How would you like to be the face of the apocalypse? She looked at me, then at Ran, who was lurking behind me like a shadow. She laughed. Is this a cult? Maybe, I said. But it pays better than waiting tables. I'm listening, she said. We did not go back to the loft. We went to the streets. Ran wanted to shoot immediately. He said the anger was fresh, and we had to capture it before it faded into disappointment. We found a construction site on Canal Street. Scaffolding, torn posters, rust and wet concrete. It was ugly. It was perfect. No makeup, I told Jax. Do not you dare touch your face. What do I do? She asked. She looked nervous now. The bravado was slipping. Do not pose, I said. Forget everything they taught you. Do not suck in your cheeks. Do not elongate your neck. Just stand there. Look at the camera and think about the guy with the clipboard who told you to leave. Ren started shooting. Click, click, click. He moved around her like a boxer. He got low. He got close. He did not use a flash. He used the harsh, gray daylight filtering through the scaffolding. First, Jax was stiff. She tried to do the model pout. Stop, I yelled. Drop the act. Be real. Be angry. She glared at me. I am angry. I've been standing in line for 4 hours. Show me. Ren shouted. She screamed. It was a silent scream, her mouth open, eyes blazing, veins popping in her neck. The birthmark darkened with the rush of blood. It looked like a map of a new world. Ren clicked the shutter. Got it, he whispered. We shot for an hour. We attracted a crowd. People stopped to watch. Not because she was pretty, but because the energy was magnetic. It was raw. It was violent. When we finished, Jax was panting. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were alive. That was... She started. Different. I finished. Ren showed us the preview on the camera screen. The image was black and white. Jax stood against a wall covered in torn wheat paste posters. Her eyes were direct, challenging. The birthmark was not a flaw. It was the focal point. She looked like a warrior queen of the ruins. We post this, I said. Tonight. On your account? Jax asked. The one with the million haters? Yes, I said. We introduced the roster. We call it The Unseen. No, Ren said. He lowered the camera. Too poetic. Call it what it is. What? Feral, Ren said. I looked at the picture. Wild. Untamed. Dangerous. Feral management, I said. I like it. We went back to the loft to edit. Ren worked fast. He did not airbrush. He increased the contrast. He made the grain sharper. He made the image look like a mugshot from the future. I drafted the caption. They told her she was a distraction. They told her to hide. We say, look at her. Jax. First face of Feral. No retouching. No apologies. I tagged Jax's tiny account. I tagged Velvet Management. Ready? Ren asked. Ready, I said. I pressed post. The reaction was instantaneous. My notifications, which had finally slowed down, exploded again. But this time it was not just shock. User 88. This is stunning. IndieMag. Who is she? Casting director New York. DM me. And then the phone rang. Not a notification. A call. It was an unknown number. I looked at Ran. He nodded. Picked up. Hello? Kaya. The voice was smooth, cultured, and dripping with venom. It's Marcus. My stomach clenched. The sound of his voice triggered a reflex of fear, but I pushed it down. I looked at the picture of Jax on the screen. Marcus, I said. To what do I owe the pleasure? Did you run out of 18-year-olds to exploit? Cute, he said. You remaking a lot of noise, Kaya. It is becoming untidy. I'm just getting started, I said. You re-breaching your non-compete clause, he said. You see, I not start an agency within 2 years of termination. I will sue you for every penny you... Oh wait, you do not have any pennies. I'm not an agent, I said. I'm just an Instagram user posting art. Check the bylaws, Marcus. I'm not taking a commission. Yet. I can bury you, Kaya, he said. His voice dropped an octave. I can make sure this girl, this Jax, never works a day in her life. I can make sure you end up in prison for the drugs we found. The drugs you planted, I corrected. And go ahead. Sue me. Arrest me. It just makes the story better. You re the Goliath, Marcus. Everyone loves to watch Goliath bleed. You replaying a dangerous game. I'm not playing, I said. I'm hunting. I hung up. My hand was shaking. But I was not scared. I was exhilarated. He called. I told Ren. He is watching. Good, Ren said. If he is watching, he is not looking at Lexi. We have his attention. I looked at Jax. She was sitting on the sofa, scrolling through her phone, her eyes wide. I just gained 10,000 followers in 10 minutes, she whispered. This is insane. This is war, I said. I walked to the window. The sun was setting over Brooklyn. The city looked different tonight. It was not a mountain to climb. It was a playground. We need more, I said. Jax is the first. But we need a freak show. We need the ones they hid in the basement. Ren smiled. It was a wolfish grin. I know a guy. A male model. Lost his leg in a bike accident. Velvet dropped him before the ambulance arrived. Perfect, I said. Call him. The night was just beginning. And Farrell was hungry. The night in Bushwick has a specific texture. It is gritty, loud, and smells of marijuana and burnt rubber. We did not sleep. The adrenaline was a drug more potent than anything Marcus accused me of taking. Ren was on the phone digging through his contacts, calling in favors from the ghosts of his past. I was pacing the concrete floor, my mind racing. Jax had fallen asleep on the sofa, clutching her phone like a talisman. She was viral. We were viral. But viral is smoke. I needed fire. Leo is in, Ren said, hanging up his cracked iPhone. He's at a dive bar in Queens. Says he is ready to show the world what a broken toy looks like. Is he sober? I asked. He is angry, Ren said. That is better than sober. We left Jack sleeping and took the motorcycle to Queens. The wind was biting, but I did not feel it. I was burning with a new purpose. We found Leo in a bar called the Rusty Nail. He was sitting in a booth nursing a whiskey. Leo used to be an underwear model. Six-pack, square jaw, blue eyes. Then a bike messenger T-boned him on 2nd Avenue. He lost his left leg below the knee. Velvet had sent a fruit basket and a contract termination letter the same day. He looked up as we approached. He was still handsome, but his eyes were hard. He wore baggy jeans to hide the prosthetic. Kaya Vance, he said, his voice rough. The fallen angel. I saw your post. You look like shit. Thanks, Leo, I said, sliding into the booth opposite him. You look like you re-hiding. I'm not hiding, he spat. I'm retired. Who wants to hire a cripple for a runway? I do, I said. But not for a runway. For a revolution. I pitched him Farrell. No soft words. No pity. I told him I wanted to photograph the metal. I wanted to show the scar tissue where the skin met the steel. I told him Marcus called him a liability. Leo listened. He finished his whiskey. He slammed the glass down. When do we shoot? We shot at dawn. The location was a scrap metal yard in the Bronx. Run bribed the guard with a bottle of vodka. The sun was rising over piles of rusted cars and twisted steel beams. It was a graveyard of machines. Leo stripped down to his boxers. It was freezing, but he did not shiver. He stood on top of a crushed sedan. He rolled up his left pant leg. The prosthetic was carbon fiber and titanium. It glinted in the morning light. Do not hide it, I yelled from behind Run. It is not a weakness. It is armor. Run circled him. The shutter clicked like a heartbeat. Click, click, click. Leo screamed at the sky. It was primal. He flexed his muscles, and the contrast between the perfect human form and the mechanical limb was breathtaking. It was cyberpunk. It was tragic. It was beautiful. We got the shot. Leo standing on the wreckage, looking like a cyborg god rising from the trash. We posted it at 8 a.m. Caption, they called him broken. We call him upgraded. Leo. Second face of Feral. Steel skin. The internet broke again. By noon Feral management had 500,000 followers. We were not just a meme anymore. We were a movement. The hashtag Feral Beauty was trending above hashtag Fashion Week. And then the email came. It was not a cease and desist from Marcus. It was an offer. Subject. Collaboration inquiry. From AV office at Alexander. My heart stopped. Alexander V, the enfant terrible of the fashion world. The designer who burned his own collection on the runway last year. He was genius, he was crazy, and he hated the establishment. Kaya, I see what you redoing. It's violent. I love it. Come to my studio. Tonight. Midnight. Come alone. Or bring your army. I do not care. Run, I said, my voice shaking. Look at this. Run read the email. He whistled. Alexander V. He backs us, we re not just internet famous. We re legit. Or it is a trap, Jack said. She was awake, eating a bagel, and reading the comments on her photo for the 1000th time. It is not a trap, I said. Alexander hates Marcus. Marcus called his designs garbage for homeless people in a Times interview. The enemy of my enemy, Ren said. Let us go. Alexander V's studio was in the meatpacking district, in a building that used to be a slaughterhouse. Still looked like one. Dark bricks, iron hooks on the ceiling. We walked in. Me, Ren, Jax, and Leo. The motley crew of fashion. Alexander was waiting. He was a small man with bleached hair and ink-stained fingers. He was draping red velvet over a mannequin that had no head. He turned. He looked at us. He did not smile. He walked up to me and touched the fabric of my cheap hoodie. Texture, he said. Grit. Pain. He looked at Jax's birthmark. Map. He looked at Leo's leg. Machine. What do you want, Alexander? I asked. We re busy destroying an empire. I want to help you, he said. I have a show next week. Fashion Week finale. Everyone expects me to show silk gowns and anorexic teenagers. He paused for effect. I want to show Feral, he said. I want you to walk. All of you. In my clothes. Or out of them. I do not care. I want to shock the system so hard it goes into cardiac arrest. I stared at him. The finale of Fashion Week. The biggest stage in the world. Marcus would be in the front row. The entire industry would be watching. If we do this, I said, Marcus will try to stop it. He'll pull funding. He'll threaten the venue. Let him, Alexander grinned. It was a shark-esque grin. I own the venue. And I do not need funding. I'm rich, darling. Filthy rich. He held out his hand. Do we have a deal, Kaya Vance? I looked at Ran. He nodded. I looked at Jax and Leo. They looked ready to kill. I took Alexander's hand. Deal. The next 3 days were a blur. We lived in Alexander's studio. We did not sleep. We ate pizza and drank cheap wine. Alexander designed clothes around us. He draped leather over Leo's prosthetic. He created a dress for Jax that framed her birthmark like a jewel. For me, he made a suit of armor. Not metal but stiff black neoprene that looked like oil slick. You are the general, he told me. You lead the charge. We were high on adrenaline. We felt invincible. We forgot that Marcus Thorne did not play by the rules of fashion. He played by the rules of war. It was Thursday night, 2 days before the show. We were at Rene's loft, uploading the teasers. The engagement was insane. The industry was buzzing. Rumors were flying that Alexander V was planning something disgusting. Then the lights went out. Pitch black. Ren called out. Did you blow a fuse? No, Rene's voice was tense. The whole block is out. Bang. The steel door of the loft shook. Someone was hitting it with a ramming bar. Bang. Police. Open up. My blood froze. The drive. Ren shouted. Kaya, grab the hard drive. I scrambled in the dark. I felt the cold metal of the external drive on the desk. I grabbed it. Crash. The door flew open. Beams of tactical flashlights cut through the darkness. Men in body armor swarmed the room. NYPD. Everybody on the ground. Now. We did not do anything. Leo shouted. He tried to stand, but a cop kicked his prosthetic leg out from under him. He crashed to the floor. Leo! I screamed. Someone grabbed me by the hair. I was thrown onto the concrete. A knee pressed into my back. Cold metal cuffs clicked onto my wrists. Kaya Vance? A voice asked. I twisted my neck. A detective stood over me. He was not wearing a uniform. He was wearing a suit. He looked like he belonged in Velvet's office, not a raid. "You're under arrest," he said. "For what?" I spit out. "Posting pictures?" "Possession with intent to distribute," he said. He held up a clear plastic bag filled with white powder. He had pulled it from under Rene's sofa. "That is not ours." Ren yelled from the floor. "You planted that." "Save it for the judge," the detective said. "Toss the place. Find everything. Computers, cameras, phones. Seize it all as evidence." I watched in horror as they smashed Rene's monitors. They swept his lenses onto the floor. Crash. Crack. The sound of glass breaking was the sound of our work dying. "No!" Ren screamed. "That is my work. That is my life." A cop hit him in the stomach with a baton. Ren doubled over, wheezing. The detective crouched down next to me. He smiled. It was a familiar smile. I had seen it on Marcus. "Mr. Thorne sends his regards," he whispered. "He said to tell you that the morality clause is a bitch." They dragged us out. All of us. Me, Ren, Jax, Leo. They paraded us past the neighbors. Into the back of police vans. I sat in the dark cage of the van. My hands were cuffed behind my back. My face was pressed against the cold metal wall. I did not have the hard drive. I had dropped it when they tackled me. It was on the floor of the loft, probably being crushed under a police boot right now. We were going to jail. The show was in 48 hours. Marcus had won. Or so he thought. I closed my eyes. I did not cry. The tears were gone. I remembered the look on Jax's face when they handcuffed her. She was not scared. She was furious. I remembered Leo being kicked down. I remembered Ren gasping for air. "You want a war, Marcus?" I thought. "You just started a nuclear one." The van lurched forward. Sirens wailed. I started to laugh. It was a low, crazy sound. The cop in the front seat looked back through the grate. "Shut up back there." I could not shut up. Marcus thought arresting us would shame us. He thought a mugshot would destroy me. He forgot one thing. Feral is not about being clean. That's about being dirty. And a mugshot? A mugshot is the ultimate portrait. The Tombs. That's what they call the Manhattan Detention Complex. It smells of industrial cleaner and human misery. They took my fingerprints. They took my shoelaces. They took my jewelry. But they could not take the look on my face. "Stand there," the officer barked. "Look at the camera." I stood against the gray height chart. I was number 89402. My hair was a mess. My hoodie was torn. My lip was bleeding from when they tackled me. I looked at the lens. I did not scowl. I did not cry. I channeled every ounce of hatred, every drop of venom I had for Marcus Thorne, and I projected it into that camera. I gave them the face of a woman who was already dead and had come back for blood. Click. The flash blinded me. "Next," the officer said, bored. They threw me in a holding cell with 20 other women. A prostitute was sleeping on the bench. A woman in a business suit was weeping in the corner. I sat on the floor, leaning against the cold cinder block wall. I closed my eyes. Jax was in the cell next door. I could hear her voice. She was arguing with a guard about her medication. Leo and Ren were in the menace block. I did not know if they were okay. I did not know if Ren's hands, his artist hands, were broken. Hours passed. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets. Time dissolved into a gray sludge. I thought about the show. Alexander V's finale. It was tomorrow night. We were supposed to be the revolution. Now we were inmates. Marcus had played his ace. He had not just stopped us. He had criminalized us. Supermodel drug ring. I could see the headlines. The fall of Kaya Vance is complete. The cell door clanked open. Vance, a guard yelled. Lawyer. I stood up. My legs were stiff. I did not call a lawyer. Someone did. The guard said. Move. I was led to a small room with a metal table. Sitting there was a woman I had never seen before. She was sharp, dressed in a suit that cost more than my former apartment, with glasses that looked like weapons. Sit down, Ms. Vance, she said. She did not offer a hand. She opened a briefcase. Who are you? I asked. I'm Eleanor Finch. I represent Alexander V, and by extension I represent you. Alexander sent you? Alexander is currently bailing out your friends. I'm here for you because your bail is set higher. Flight risk. Trafficking charges. Mr. Thorne has friends in the district attorney's office. It is a setup, I said. The drugs were not ours. I know, Eleanor said. She pulled out a file. We'll fight the charges later. Right now the priority is getting you out. Alexander posted the bond. $2 million. I choked. $2 million. He believes in his investment, she said dryly. And he hates Marcus Thorne. It is a powerful motivator. When can I leave? Now. But there are conditions. You cannot leave the state. You cannot contact the witnesses. And she paused. She slid a piece of paper across the table. It was a printout. It was my mugshot. It leaked, she said. 5 minutes after it was taken. TMZ has it. Everyone has it. I looked at the photo. Me. Disheveled. Bleeding lip. Eyes burning with cold fire. It was ugly. It was terrifying. It is over, I whispered. No brand will touch me now. Eleanor smiled. It was a thin razor-sharp smile. Look at the comments, Kaya. She turned the paper over. A screenshot of Twitter. #FreeKaya is trending worldwide. User 77. This is the hardest pic I've ever seen. Fashion Week Daily. Is this performance art? Punk Vogue. The new face of rebellion. You re not a criminal, Kaya, Eleanor said. You re a martyr. Alexander wants to use it. Use the mugshot. He wants to project it on the runway, she said. During the finale. He wants you to walk out while your booking number flashes on the screen. I stared at her. It was insane. It was suicide. It was perfect. Get me out of here, I said. We walked out of the precinct at 4:00 a.m. The paparazzi were waiting. A wall of flashes. A cacophony of shouting. Kaya, did you sell the drugs? Kaya, is it true you re an addict? Look here, Kaya. Give us a smile. I did not smile. I walked straight through them. Leo was there, leaning on a new crutch Alexander had found. Ren was there nursing a black eye. Jax was smoking a cigarette, looking like she wanted to punch someone. We got into Alexander's limousine. The door closed, shutting out the noise. Alexander was inside. He was drinking champagne. He looked delighted. Darlings. He cried. You look terrible. It's magnificent. They broke my camera, Ren said. His voice was flat. I bought you a new one, Alexander said. He pointed to a box on the seat. A Hasselblad. Better than the Leica. Now drink. We have a show to rehearse. We have 24 hours, I said. We have not slept. We smell like jail. Exactly, Alexander said. We do not shower. We do not cover the bruises. We use them. The theme of the show was decadence. I'm changing it. To what? Jax asked. Exoneration, Alexander said. The next 24 hours were a hallucination. We were in the venue, an abandoned subway station Alexander had rented. It was dark, damp, and echoed with the sound of bass testing. Ren was working like a man possessed. He was taking photos of us in our post-jail state. Bruises, cuts, exhaustion. He was printing them on massive banners that would hang from the ceiling. I was practicing my walk, but not the velvet walk. Not the hip-swaying, seductive glide Marcus had taught me. Stomp, Alexander yelled. You are not selling sex. You are marching to war. Heavy feet. Angry feet. I walked. My boots hit the concrete. Thud, thud, thud. It was not pretty. It was aggressive. It was the walk of someone coming to collect a debt. Marcus would be there. Front row. Center. He had tickets. He probably came to watch me fail. To watch his rival Alexander crash and burn. He thinks I would not show, I told Leo during a break. He thinks I'm hiding in shame. He does not know you, Leo said. He was adjusting the strap on his prosthetic. Alexander had painted it gold. Kintsugi. The art of repairing broken pottery with gold. He thinks you re-glass. He does not know you re-diamond. Diamond breaks too, Leo. Only if you hit it hard enough, he grinned. And Marcus has a weak swing. Showtime. The energy backstage was frantic. Models were running around. Makeup artists were screaming. But in our corner, the Pharaoh corner, it was quiet. We did not have makeup artists. We had Ran. He was rubbing oil and dirt onto our skin. He was accentuating the bruises, not hiding them. You are the final act, Alexander told us. The lights will go down. The music will stop. Then silence. Then I peeked through the curtain. The audience was packed. Editors. Buyers. Celebrities. And there in the front row sat Marcus Thorne. He looked smug. He was talking to Lexi, who sat next to him. She was wearing a pink dress. She looked bored. I felt a cold calm wash over me. No nerves. No fear. Just the target lock. Ready? Ren asked. He had a camera around his neck. He was walking with us, documenting the kill. Ready, I said. The lights went out. The venue plunged into darkness. The chatter stopped. Silence. Heavy, confused silence. Then a screen lit up at the back of the runway. Huge. Blinding. My mugshot. The crowd gasped. A collective intake of breath that sounded like a vacuum. Then the beat dropped. Heavy industrial bass that shook the floor. Doom. 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 Leo walked out first. He was not limping. He was driving his gold leg into the runway like a piston. He was shirtless, his scars on display. He looked terrifying. Next Jax. Her blue hair was wild. Her birthmark was glowing under the harsh spotlights. She glared at the audience, challenging them to look away. They could not. Then the others. The rejects we had found. The too short, the too tattooed, the too strange. They marched like an army of the damned. And finally me. I stepped into the light. I wore the black neoprene armor Alexander had made. It was tight, constricting like a second skin. My hair was slicked back, wet. My lip was still swollen. I did not look at the cameras. I looked at one person. I walked down the runway. Thud, thud, thud. The audience was screaming, flashing, cheering. It was not the polite applause of a fashion show. It was the roar of a riot. I reached the end of the runway. I stopped. I stood directly in front of Marcus Thorne. He was not smiling anymore. His face was pale. His mouth was slightly open. Lexi looked terrified. I looked down at him. I saw the fear in his eyes. He realized in that moment that he had not buried me. He had planted me. I did not pose. I did not turn. I raised my hand. I pointed a finger directly at him. And then I spoke. Loud enough for the front row to hear over the music. Checkmate. I turned and walked back. The crowd went feral. Alexander ran out for his bow, dragging us with him. It was triumph. It was victory. But as we walked backstage amidst the champagne and the hugging, I saw Ren. He was not celebrating. He was looking at his phone. He looked up at me. His face was white. Kaya, he said. What? I was laughing. We did it, Ren. Did you see his face? Kaya, look. He showed me the screen. It was a live stream from the Velvet offices. Smoke was pouring out of the windows. Fire trucks were surrounding the building. Breaking news. Massive fire at Velvet Management headquarters. Arson suspected. I did not. I stammered. We were here. We were all here. I know, Ren said. But look at the comments. User 666. Feral burned it down. Hashtag justice for Kaya Anarchy now they really did it. Legends. They think we did it, I whispered. And Marcus will make sure the police think so too, Rin said. The joy evaporated. The cold not returned. The war was not over. It had just turned into a murder investigation. The champagne in my hand suddenly felt heavy, like a grenade with the pin pulled. Around us models were screaming with joy, popping bottles, taking selfies. Alexander was being interviewed by Vogue, declaring this the death of beauty. But in our corner the air was vacuum sealed. We did not do it, Jax whispered, staring at Rena's phone. We were on the runway. Millions of witnesses. Does not matter, Ren said grimly. Arson is not always hands-on. They LL say we hired someone. LL say we incited it. Look at the hashtags. Hashtag burn velvet is trending. We gave them the matches metaphorically. Someone else lit the fuse. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I knew who it was. I stepped away into a quiet corridor filled with racks of unused clothes. I answered. Did you enjoy the fireworks, Kaya? Marcus's voice was calm. Too calm. He was not panic-stricken like a man whose empire was burning. He sounded like a man who had just collected an insurance payout. You burned it yourself, I said. It was not a question. You knew you were losing. The agency was tanking after the scandal. You wanted the insurance money, and you wanted to frame me for the final blow. Proof, Kaya, he chuckled. I have alibis. I was at the show, remember? Watching your little circus act. Meanwhile, your army of freaks has been posting threats all week. Burn it down. Destroy the empire. The police are already looking at your texts. I have you, I said, my voice shaking with rage. I saw your face on the runway. You were scared. I was acting, he said. That's called show business. Goodbye, Kaya. Enjoy prison. The food is terrible, but the orange jumpsuits will suit your new feral aesthetic. Click. I stood there, gripping the phone until my knuckles turned white. He was right. He had played the long game. He sacrificed the building to win the war. Kaya. I turned. A woman was running down the corridor towards me. She was soaking wet, smelling of smoke and soot. Her face was streaked with ash. It was Sarah, the receptionist. She collapsed against a clothing rack, gasping for air. She was clutching a heavy leather bag to her chest. Sarah. I grabbed her shoulders. What are you doing here? Were you in the fire? I went back, she wheezed. After everyone left. I knew he was up to something. Who? Marcus. She nodded. She looked terrified. He told me to clear the servers yesterday. To delete everything. Client lists. Financials. Everything. He said we were migrating systems. But I saw him. I saw him disable the smoke detectors in the archive room. You saw him. I heard him, she corrected. On the phone. With Lexi. He said. He said tonight we cash out. She opened the bag. Inside was a black hard drive. It was charred on the edges, smelling of melted plastic, but it looked intact. The cloud backups were deleted, Sarah said. But he forgot the local server in the basement. I ran in. When the alarm started, I grabbed the backup drive. Before the fire reached the server room, I looked at the drive. It was a brick of black metal. It was the smoking gun. Why? I asked her. Why help me? You work for him. Sarah looked up. Her eyes were red from the smoke. He fired me this morning, Kaya. By text. After 3 years. He said I was not part of the future. He replaced me with an iPad. I smiled. It was a cold, vicious smile. Marcus's arrogance was his flaw. He treated people like furniture. He forgot that furniture has eyes. Ren. I shouted. Ren appeared from around the corner, Leo and Jax right behind him. We have it, I said, holding up the drive. We have everything. We did not go to the police. Not yet. The police were on Marcus's payroll, or at least incompetent enough to be manipulated by him. We went to the press. Alexander V called a press conference. Not for fashion. For truth. He rented the biggest screen in Times Square. It was 2:00 a.m. The city that never sleeps was wide awake. The fire at Velvet was the only story on the news. We stood on the red steps. Me, Run, Jax, Leo, Sarah, and Alexander. A crowd gathered. Thousands. The feral army. They were chanting. "Connect it," Run said. He plugged the charge drive into a laptop connected to the Jumbotron. "Are you sure?" Alexander asked. "Once this is up, there's no going back. It's nuclear." "Push the button," I said. Run hit enter. The massive screen in Times Square flickered. The ads for Coca-Cola and Disney disappeared. Static. Then a video file. It was security footage. The timestamp was 6:00 p.m., 2 hours before the show. The image was grainy but clear enough. Marcus Thorne. In the Velvet server room. He was pouring a clear liquid over the racks of servers. Gasoline. He was laughing. He was talking on his phone. The audio crackled through the massive speakers of Times Square. "Do not worry, Lexi. The policy covers everything. Arson, theft, acts of God. And the best part? Kaya and her little freaks will take the fall. We'll all be on a beach in the Caymans by Monday." He lit a match. He threw it. The screen filled with fire. The crowd in Times Square went silent. Then a roar. It was not a cheer. It was a sound of collective shock and fury. I grabbed the microphone. "He did not just burn a building," I said. My voice echoed through the canyon of skyscrapers. "He burned careers. He burned lives. He tried to burn us." I looked into the camera of a news drone hovering nearby. "Marcus Thorne," I said. "You refired. Sirens. Real sirens this time." We watched from the steps as police cars swarmed the VIP entrance of the fashion show venue, where Marcus was still giving interviews about the tragedy. We watched on the big screen as they let him out in handcuffs. He looked disheveled. He looked small. He looked at the camera, and for a second our eyes met across the digital divide. He did not look like a king anymore. He looked like a man who had forgotten to delete the backups. Lexi was next. She was crying, screaming that she did not know anything. But the audio had her name on it. It was over. The empire of Velvet had fallen. Not by fire but by the truth. 6 months later. The loft in Bushwick was different now. It was clean. We had heat. We had a real espresso machine. Feral management was painted on the door in neon pink spray paint. I sat at the big wooden table. I was not wearing Saint Laurent. I was wearing Alexander V, a custom leather jacket with Survivor painted on the back. Ren was in the darkroom. He was the creative director now. He still yelled at models, but he smiled more. Jax was on the cover of ID magazine. The headline, "The New Face of Beauty." She was holding her head high, the birthmark front and center. Leo was walking in Milan. He was the face of a bionic limb company in Versace. Sarah was our head of operations. She ran the agency with an iron fist. No one got fired by text anymore. I looked at the wall of faces. We had 50 models now. None of them were perfect. One had vitiligo. One was 70 years old. One was in a wheelchair. One was covered in burned scars. They were beautiful. They were real. The phone rang. It was Vogue. "Kaya," the editor said. Her voice was sweet, syrupy. "We'd love to have you on the cover. The September issue. The redemption issue." I laughed. I looked at my reflection in the window. I saw the girl who had stood in the rain, broken and discarded. I saw the girl who had ridden the subway with hate in her heart. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'm not available." "Kaya, it's Vogue." "I know," I said. "But I have work to do. I have a casting." "A casting? For who?" "For the invisible," I said. "For the feral." I hung up. I walked to the window. It was raining outside. A cold gray New York rain. But I was not cold. I watched a girl walking down the street below. She had pink hair and was wearing a torn coat. She looked lost. She looked angry. I opened the window. "Hey!" I shouted. She looked up. Startled. "You look like trouble," I yelled. She glared at me. "So what?" I smiled. "Come upstairs," I said. "We're rehiring."